Subscribe for more. I was standing in front of the Mongols when I realized I no longer felt fear the way other men did. They had never been stopped in open battle. Cities burned before their scouts finished counting the dead. Empires collapsed from terror alone. Men surrendered without lifting a blade. And yet, there I was, once chained, once owned, holding the line. If we broke, Egypt would burn before nightfall. If we broke, nothing would slow them. This is the day stolen boys became kings. The ground trembles beneath my horse, not like thunder, but like something alive beneath the earth. Dust climbs into the sky, swallowing the sun until the world looks sick and yellow. The air tastes of iron, sweat, and old fear that never truly leaves a battlefield. Across the plain, Mongol banners ripple like open wounds. These are the men who erased Baghdad, who turned libraries into ash and rivers into graves. They do not expect resistance. They expect obedience. I breathe the way I was taught, slow, hollow, empty. That discipline was not born here. It was beaten into me long ago. I was taken because I did not look weak. That is the truth stripped bare. I was strong for my age. Broad shoulders, steady hands. When the raiders came, they ignored the crying boys and seized me. I remember my mother screaming my name. I remember deciding not to answer. Chains replaced hands. The road replaced home. Days collapsed into heat, hunger, and silence. Anyone who fell was left where he dropped, eyes open, mouth full of dust. That was the first lesson. No one comes back for you. By the time we reached the markets, I learned the second lesson. Pain fades. Memory does not. Men inspected us like animals. Teeth, arms, legs, grip. I was chosen because I did not look away. Because fear stayed buried behind my eyes. That decision saved my life. It also buried the boy I was alive. In Cairo, they erased me slowly. My name was taken first, then my hair, then my past. I was told my family was dead, whether it was true or not. It no longer mattered. I belonged to my master now. I was a Mamluk, an owned man. They fed us enough to survive. They punished us enough to obey. They trained us until pain lost meaning. Before sunrise to after dark, we rode until our legs bled. We shot arrows at full gallop until our fingers split and stiffened. We learned to kill cleanly, efficiently, without emotion. If one of us slowed, he was beaten. If one of us showed mercy, he was punished. If one of us broke, he was replaced. I watched boys die in training. Some from wounds, some from exhaustion, some because they could not become what was demanded. Their bodies were dragged away. Their names were never spoken again. That was the third lesson. Survive by becoming harder than the world. I remembered the first time I killed a man and realized it did nothing to me. He was older, bigger. He begged in a language I barely understood, hands shaking so hard his sword rattled against the stone. I waited for something to happen inside me. Fear, regret, disgust. Nothing came. That was when I understood the final lesson they never spoke aloud. They weren't training us to fight. They were training us to erase ourselves. Every scar, every command shouted into my face. Every brother dragged away after failing a drill. It stripped something human out of me. What remained was precise, obedient, empty. And emptiness is dangerous. Because once you no longer fear pain, once death feels ordinary, once obedience is muscle memory, you stop seeing masters as owners. You start seeing them as obstacles. That is the moment the Empire was already lost, even if it didn't know it yet. But something else grew inside those stone walls. Brotherhood. We slept pressed together like prisoners, ate from the same bowls, took the same blows. The only men we trusted were the ones bleeding beside us. Our loyalty stopped belonging to the men who owned us. It belonged to each other. And slowly, quietly, that loyalty hardened into something dangerous. Years passed. Boys became weapons. Weapons became soldiers. They sent us against crusaders first. Men wrapped in steel who believed faith made them untouchable. We shattered them. We learned how fear sounds when it echoes inside armor. How men beg when their god stays silent. Every victory brought rewards, horses, land, rank. Every reward loosened the chain around our throats. Our masters believed we were loyal because we owed them everything. They never asked what happens when everything you own can kill you. When the Sultan died during the war, the palace filled with whispers. Poisoned cups, night knives, betrayal layered on betrayal. I watched rulers argue while we guarded the doors. I watched generals plead while we held the blades. And one night, the truth became unavoidable. We were no longer protecting the throne. We were the reason it still existed. When power shifted, it was not loud. No ceremony, no cheering crowds. Just silence. And then obedience. The slaves had seized the palace. A horn blast tears me back to the present. The Mongols advance. I give the order to retreat. Slow, disciplined, perfect. The Mongols surge forward, convinced we are breaking. Their confidence is almost beautiful, almost innocent. I remember learning this maneuver as a boy. Feigned retreat, draw them in, stretch the line. They taught us this. They never imagined we would use it here. The Mongols push too far. Their formation loosens. Their arrogance blinds them. I raise my hand. Hidden cavalry erupts from the hills. Steel crashes into flesh. Horses scream like dying men. The Mongols hesitate. Just one breath. But that breath costs them everything. By sunset, the field belongs to us. The Mongols are broken. The impossible has happened. After that day, the world bends around us. Crusader cities fall. Acre burns. Their banners vanish from our shores. Cairo swells into a city of stone, gold, scholars, and whispered fear. And we rule it all. But our empire is built on memory. We never allow our sons to inherit power. Blood makes men soft. Memory makes men dangerous. Instead, we bring in new boys, just like we once were. Chains, training, brotherhood. We repeat the cycle because we know exactly what it creates. Some call us monsters. They are not wrong. Monsters are made, not born. At night, I walk the palace corridors alone. My footsteps echo off marble floors like a heartbeat that does not belong to me. Sometimes I swear I hear chains dragging behind me, even though my wrists are bare. I try to remember my mother's face. I cannot. The men who owned me believed control was permanent. They believed power was safe. They were wrong. Power remembers pain. Power waits. Power echoes. Here is the truth my life carved into history. When you steal boys and turn them into warriors, you do not create servants forever. You create contenders. We were taken to serve. We were trained to obey. We rose because we learned how the world truly works. Empires do not always fall to enemies. Sometimes they are replaced by the people they tried to own. And long after our names fade, the sound remains. Hoofbeats, steel, whispers in palace halls. History never dies. It just echoes through stolen boys who returned as kings. Subscribe for more.